We back. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about why I think Jason Kidd. Oh, we're gonna talk about why I think Jason Kidd is overrated. Now I know a lot of old heads. Probably just a lot of other people are gonna say that's a bad take or whatever. But respectfully, Jason Kidd's overrated, bro. Like I don't want to hear it. Jason Kidd's overrated. I'm gonna tell you why. So the biggest thing about Jason Kidd that he gets praised for is carrying the Nets to the finals those years. It's just like those be the same people hating on LeBron for carrying bad teams to the finals. Oh, well, you're supposed to do that. Like, so I don't want to hear that argument. Like, yeah, it's impressive, but you gotta use context. The East was probably the weakest it's ever been at the time. Like, it wasn't the best team at the time was like maybe the Wizards with Gilbert Arenas, if even that. Because he took those teams to the finals like what, 04, 03? I think 04, 03. So it's just like, I'm not going to discredit him, but it's just like, it wasn't as impressive as people think it is. The one thing that he gets praised for the most is his playmaking, which I'm not going to say is overrated, but I think it's overvalued. For example, in the playoffs, his playmaking wouldn't fall off, but it wouldn't have the same effect as it did in the regular season, because Jason Kidd, 40% of the time, he never averaged 10 plus points in the playoffs, and that wasn't really his job to score, but his playmaking was least effective because the way defenses guarded him, they knew he wasn't a threat to score, so it wasn't as effective as it used to be. And then I would say people say he's a top 5 point guard all time. I could promise you, if he is, it's towards an 8 or 9 on the list. I don't think he's better than Magic. Everyone knows that. He's not better than Steph. He's not better than Chris Paul. He's not better than Oscar Robertson. John Stockton, he's not better than. Isaiah Thomas, he's not better than. I would even throw Russ in there. I don't think he's better than Russ. So that already has him at like 7 or 8. And I know that might not sound like a good argument, but I don't think Jason Kidd is all that good as we give him credit to. I think he's a good player. Like, he's a good all-star caliber player. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. I'll give him that. But a top 5 point guard, where some people be saying, no. He didn't have that much effect on the game. Like, he making bad teams good and not winning with the good team is two different things. He won with the Mavericks in like 2011. Yeah, with 2011 with Dirk, as like he wasn't even. He might have been coming off the bench. So because I think Jason Terry started. So, but I would say that's probably where he was most effective, when he wasn't the best player. He wasn't even top 5 player on his team. I think that was the best Jason Kidd we ever seen. I think it was better than him when he was on the Suns. I think it was better than when he was on the the Nets, or the New Jersey Nets. So I don't really think Jason Kidd is one of those. He's one of those. I'm gonna make a video about how some people are overrated by like legend and like stories. Like, I think Larry Bird's one of those players. I think Allen Iverson's one of those players who's just overrated because of the way they're seeing the aura around him, versus someone like Paul Pierce, he's not better than Dwayne Wade. Let's get that. He's not better than Wade, but he's way better than what people give him credit for. Paul Pierce is better than Jason Kidd. I don't know. Yeah, he's better than Paul. He's better than Jason Kidd. Paul Pierce is better than Jason Kidd, bro. I don't think it's a debate. Jason Kidd, he has one ring where he wasn't the best player on, he was still effective. I'll give him that. Like, he wasn't just some scrub who got carried. Like, that wasn't the case. But yeah, I think Jason Kidd is one of those players who's just overrated because his play style. He's a lesser Chris Paul. His defense is very good. I will say his defense is probably underrated. He made like 9 all-defensive teams, he led the league in triple-doubles for 10 years straight, but 11 times in his whole career. So that's impressive stuff. And he was only like 6'6". So even though that's big for a point guard, but that's still small. But Yeah, Jason Kidd, I'm going to keep saying it. He's overrated. Me and any old head could battle about it. But Jason Kidd is not one of those players that I think he's cool. Like, he's a cool player. And I think there's definitely players that he's better than, but you can make a debate that, like, they have a chance to be better than him or were better than. Like, I would say Tony Parker. I would say Tony Parker's more skilled than Jason Kidd. But as a number one option, even though we never really got to see Tony Parker as a number one, because he was always number two to Tim Duncan, I would say Jason Kidd's a better playmaker and defender. Only thing Tony has on him is maybe scoring. Not maybe, he does. But his scoring wasn't so much better where it was just like, okay, he's better than Jason Kidd. Or someone like Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups is most underrated. He might be the most underrated player. Like, Chauncey Billups is nice, bro. I would say that he's definitely more pure skill better than him, but that argument is, if it's not, doesn't lead to you being a better player, then it doesn't really matter to me. That's another video. Skill, I'm going to make a video about that. But yeah, I don't think Jason Kidd is one of those players where he's overrated because he's well-liked. Even though as a coach, I wouldn't think he's liked, because you hear stories about him, like when he coached the Bucks, about how his offense didn't work. And the thing is, the people who say he was the best point guard at his time, he wasn't. It was Nash. Steve Nash is better than Jason Kidd at literally everything besides defense and rebounding. And those things, yeah, those are a plus for a point guard, but they're not. You don't need to be a great defender to be a good point guard. If you're close to a B plus, B minus defender as a point guard, which I would say peak Steve Nash is at least a B minus, it's not, and your playmaking and scoring is as elite as it was with Steve Nash, then yeah, it's no debate. Like, Steve Nash is better, way better than Jason Kidd. Not a little bit, not just by a margin. He's better. Steve Nash is one of the best offensive players of all time. I think he doesn't get his credit for that. The way his offense led to winning at such an efficient way, and even though I think Steve Nash should have shot the ball more, but he's one of those players who did elevate his points per game during the playoffs. Something Jason Kidd, he struggled to do it besides those years where they went to the finals twice, back to back. So this video led to me talking about other players besides Jason Kidd, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing videos about who I think's underrated, who I think's overrated. I'm gonna try to do back-to-back. So since I did a player that's overrated, I think the next one I do is gonna be a player who's underrated. Y'all seen that, but that's a tough one. Cade. I always give the team, when I play 2K for these videos, I always give the other team the better team. Like, they have LeBron, KD, and Bird, and my best player is Chris Paul. Yes, Chris Paul's better than Bill. Nah, I'm playing. But my two best players, and it's not even, but I don't have scrubs on my team, so, shout out James Worthy. But yeah, I think I'm going to start doing underrated versus overrated players, because I think that's a great topic to talk about. Like, I think the next one I definitely know who I'm going to do for my underrated. I kind of already spoke about it, but yeah, I think he's someone who's very underrated and is not talked about enough. So that's the end of this video. Yeah, Jason Kidd's overrated. I'll live by that, die by that. He's one of the most, he's not the most overrated player in history. That's a spot for someone else that we'll talk about another day.